This portion of Lifestyles is sponsored by Gary Price, elder law attorney.
And Gary Price, elder law attorney, is back, and we're going to talk today about, I think there are a lot of myths around this one as well, the 5-year look back. So, welcome. It's good to see you. And
Thank you.
Explain what the 5-year look back is.
So when you go through a Medicaid application process, you file your application with the Medicaid office, and then you have an interview with the Medicaid office where they can ask you questions. They're only allowed to ask you questions relating to, and they're usually questions related to financial transactions. They're only allowed to ask you questions during that look-back period, the 5-year look-back period. They cannot ask you questions that financial transactions that took place 6 years ago. They can't ask you 5 years and 1 day ago. That's what the 5-year look back is. It's all it is. It's a rule that Medicaid has to comply with. They can only ask you questions during that look back period.
So what's day one? Or when does that start? So you said you couldn't do 5 years in a day.
Right.
Is it the day you call and make a...
The day you file your Medicaid application.
Okay, so it's that day, and in that 5 years. What are they looking for?
Gifts.
Okay.
Have you transferred any assets they always ask this question, and you answer it under oath. Have you transferred any assets in the last 5 years without receiving value, a gift? Have you made any gifts?
Well, so help us understand what those kinds of gifts are.
Well, you know, sometimes it's easier to say what those kinds of gifts may not be. Okay. You know, a Christmas gift may not fall in that category. Depends. You know, if you give a huge Christmas gift out of the ordinary Christmas gift, it may. Tithes to the church may not fall in that category. May not be an issue. Still, none of this is black and white. It's gray. Birthday presents may not be, but people often they know about the $15,000 tax exemption that you can gift a gift exemption that you can make every year. That fools people because the IRS allows you to do that $15,000 gift. Medicaid considers that a gift, and that would cause you to have to answer that question. Have you transferred any assets in the last 60 months, 5 years? Yes, I made a $15,000 gift to my son or daughter. IRS said I could do it. Medicaid says you can't.
Well, that's important to know if you've been doing it typically and to not realize. And why don't we know? I mean, I know because you've told me, but why don't we typically know that?
Well, the accountant tells you that you can make this $15,000 gift and it won't result in a tax liability. So the accountant talks about that. They don't talk about the Medicaid side of what may be the consequence as a result of that. Now, I'm not sitting here saying parents don't gift your kids that $15,000 anymore because you have a concern about Medicaid someday. Don't do that. Live your life. What I am saying though is this, and this is the misconception. People think that because I made that gift, now I got to wait 5 years before I can apply for Medicaid. That's not necessarily true. That 5-year look back, again, is just a rule to the Medicaid office as to what they can and cannot ask you questions about. If you make a gift within that 5-year period, that does not mean you are not eligible for Medicaid. It may affect when you are eligible for Medicaid, but unless you gift $500,000, it's not going to be that effect won't be a 5-year wait before you're Medicaid eligible. So there are people that are probably watching that have a loved one, or they're in a long-term care facility, and they're waiting thinking they got I made this gift, and they're waiting and paying $7,000, $8,000 a month. They're waiting for that 5 years to lapse. Don't do that. You can protect your assets still.
You can protect your assets, and you can get Gary's book. How can they do that?
You call my office, 812-475-8444. We'll send you a copy of that book free.
You can learn all about this and so much more. Thank you, Gary.
Good to be here. Thank you.
We'll be back.
This portion of Lifestyles is sponsored by Gary Price, elder law attorney.